Hey guys, this is Adam here with Thoroughbred Trucks. Today we're going to be installing the stainless steel running boards from Raptor series. We're going to be installing on this 2015 Toyota Tundra Crew Max. Just going to give you a little brief overboard of these. These are probably our most popular sellers right now. As you can see, they have a lot of polished up stainless steel to them, so they kind of give a lot of extra chrome look. Have a really large foot pad here. And they run the whole length of the cab as well. Now, this particular setup already came with the brackets installed. The instructions for this did have instructions on how to install the bracket, so not exactly sure if every one of them comes installed or not. It's very simple though. As you can see, it looks like the studs are already through. Just place the bracket over and screw the nuts down on it to where it fits best. We'll point out also on these that this edge right here is extremely sharp. I've already cut myself on it once today fighting with it, so make sure and be real careful of that. We've already installed the driver's side just for a little bit of practice and to make the video better, so we're going to show you how to install the passenger side. It is the exact same on both sides on almost every truck. The main thing you will need to do is get your instructions out and take a look at all your brackets. Usually one bracket will be a little bit different on one end, and it's a very good picture diagram on the instructions that tell you whether you have the driver's side or passenger side step, because they usually are not the exact same. So we're going to jump into installing this right now. Going to do our best to get the good camera angles that we can, but this is a really tight space and we're going to be underneath the truck, so just bear with us. Just going to go over the tools needed for our Raptor stainless steel running boards install. Basically you have your standard socket wrench right there. To take off the stock bolts on this Toyota Tundra 15 Crew Max cab, you're going to need a 12mm socket. That will vary from install to install. That's not specific to these boards in particular. The hardware that comes in this kit requires a 14mm socket to put the new hardware back on. I would assume that that is fairly standard. Like I said, I haven't installed these on every particular truck, but the bolts should be fairly similar. We obviously, for the sake of this video and time, use a cordless impact wrench just to speed things up. I know everybody doesn't have this, so this will be your friend. Like we said, we don't have it in here, but the other thing we would recommend if the truck is a little bit older is make sure and hit your stock bolts with some penetrating oil maybe an hour or so before you do the install. All right guys, so the first thing we're going to do is get under here and take off the stock bolts. These mount up to just stock locations under here. For this particular truck, need a 12 metric socket to take them off. That will vary from truck to truck. In this particular kit, the actual bolts that come with it, because it does come with new bolts and washers for mounting, uses a 14 metric. I assume that will probably be the same in most kits. It may vary again some by truck and the allowable mounting spots for each vehicle. So you will be on your back for a lot of this installation, and you can actually use just your regular old ratchet here. We are not going to do that because it's a lot slower and we're actually going to do an impact. So we're just going to jump right into it. First thing we're going to do is go through and take off all of these stock bolts in the mounting locations. So this truck's a lot easier than a lot of trucks are going to be, just because it's new. Obviously, anytime you do a new truck, bolts and stuff like this, as you can see, there's nothing rusted on here at all, and that's always going to make it easier. Everything's going to come out a lot easier. So just keep in mind, if you have a truck that you've had for a while and you're just now putting some sort of running board on it, you probably want to take some penetrating oil of some sort and squirt it on there. Let it set for a little bit before you start trying to break these off, especially if you're using the hand ratchet. That way you're not wearing yourself out all day trying to crank on it. So what we're going to do, because I forgot to get my bolts, is I'm going to go get my bolts and my washers and get those all set up near my spots. That way I don't have to go crawling around for it every time that I need to reach for a new one. All right, so we went ahead and set up all of our screws. This may seem like a trivial thing to you, but I promise you it'll make it a lot easier. As you can see, each new bolt has a washer and a lock washer. Make sure you put that in the right order. That is crucial to making it stay on. If you put the lock washer on first, it's not going to hold quite the same. You don't get enough pressure on it. So just set those up. I tend to just take and kind of set them all in one place back behind the vehicle, because this is such a tight fit that once you get under here, if you've got to reach around for stuff a lot and have to get out from underneath of it, you're going to greatly increase the length of time here. So now here's the hard part. I've got to grab this step bar, and we're going to use probably the best appendage that we have, our chest, and just kind of rest it there. And I'll try not to hit the mic as much as I can, but you're going to have that happen some. So I'm just going to put it up here and kind of mount it up to the holes, and I'm going to let it rest on my chest and hold the other side up. You see, I can just real easy reach back here with my free hand, grab one of these, and the key is to just get the first bolt started. This is probably the hardest part. I just got to take the socket and screw that one in, make sure I got it actually threaded. These frames are a little tricky when you're mounting bolts into them, because obviously they have metal folded over top of metal. So sometimes the bolts will grab in that first layer of that fold, and it'll make you think that you have it threaded when you actually don't. So there it is. Now here's the one trick that I noticed doing the driver's side. My first instinct was to take and rock the bracket away from the holes like that to get it lined up. I realized after a while that was a mistake. There's a seal in here that's causing a little bit of pressure to pull the bracket closer down and kind of misaligns the holes. So if you actually take your chest and put pressure on it like that, it lines the holes up perfect just about every time, and you can usually screw this right in. Now keep in mind, these brackets are not solidly fixed on there too, so besides just rocking this, you can actually take and move these brackets some, and that will actually help you get stuff lined up as well. So again, have your socket in your hand, because that's really your best tool as far as being able to get these threaded. And that one might have cross-threaded, I'm not sure. No, it's going. All right, so that one's in. We'll grab the next bolt. And usually if the bottom bolt or the second bolt in the combination goes in really easily, it's a pretty good indication that the first one's threaded well. It's not always the case, but it's a pretty good rule of thumb. All right, so that's basically the gist of the install. We're going to go ahead and finish up the front two brackets. It's the same process as this. We're going to just put the bolts in like that, tighten everything down, and we'll show you what the finished product looks like. Be back in just a second. All right, guys, we finished wrapping up our stainless steel Raptor step boards. As you can see, they fit up nicely with the cab. Everything looks real flush. It almost kind of has an OEM look with the black plastic and the chrome, especially on the Toyotas where it has the all the chrome inlets and everything to get from the get-go. We started off the first two brackets really easy, as you saw. We did have some problems with the other brackets. That's pretty standard with just about any step bar that you go to do. You're gonna have some problem with some of the brackets lining up, and it's usually because of the holes and just getting the screws or the bolts to actually catch in those. Once you get them threaded, everything going up is actually really easy. It takes you about 2 minutes to tighten everything down. The hardest part is getting them to catch, but you can move the brackets on these. It's not standard on all of them, so don't forget that. If you do get in a bind and you just can't get it, loosen your brackets up, adjust them so that they'll mount up to those holes correctly. But we'll open the door here and show you real quick. As you can see, the step mounts up perfect to be able to step right in, reach up and grab the bar. Holds me well, so I'm about 250 pounds, so I'm not light by any means. It's a real good sturdy step bar. So really happy with the way these installed. Really happy with the way they looked. If you have any questions on it, make sure and give us a call. We'll be happy to help you out any way we can install anything like that. So make sure and subscribe to our YouTube video, guys. Make sure and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to leave them in the comments below or give us a call. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.